everybody. Welcome to Thursday, and I don't know how this Knicks season is going to end. I don't know if they're going to win an NBA championship or not, but I got to tell you, man, they are having what I like to call championship DVD moments on a nightly basis. And what that means is you close your eyes after something magical happens, and you ask yourself, can I see this on the championship DVD? And I'm telling you right now, I could make a list of 10 different things that would make the championship DVD. But what I witnessed last night takes the cake. Tiki Barber doesn't believe in coincidences. Maybe you believe in karma. On the anniversary of, without a shadow of a doubt, the most famous moment in New York Knicks history, and that is Willis Reed limping onto the court, inspiring the Garden crowd, and then really Walt Clyde Frazier going to work as the Knicks won Game 7 to win their first NBA championship. On the anniversary of that, like, are you freaking kidding me? On the anniversary of that, Jalen Brunson disappears late first quarter. You don't see him in the second quarter. A 7-point lead turns into a 10-point deficit. We have no update because the clowns on TNT want to regurgitate Reggie Miller's overrated history against the New York Knicks. They ain't told us what's going on with Jalen. And then finally, dramatically, there's Jalen Brunson warming up for the second half, calmly telling the Garden crowd, I got this. And then that son bitch went to work and led the Knicks back, led the Knicks to victory, and that's a championship DVD moment.
Yes.
And I was shaking after the game thinking, is this real?
Yeah, and you forget the broadcast because Josh Hart took care of that. Hey,
yes, he did.
You heard what they're saying, right? They're telling you to go bleep. I love that. Josh Hart's my favorite player. Maybe my favorite player in New York right now, Josh Hart. Well, because he grinds, but also because he just keeps it real. When Jalen Brunson got injured, we didn't know what it was. We thought he just got hit in the groin. And maybe he had some swelling down there. Because that happens every now and then if you get hit in the wrong place.
Sure.
With the right kind of force. And swelled, you know what, down there, that's not good. Swelled testicles aren't good. So it was like, maybe I'll go back and check this out. That's honestly what I was thinking. That is, in my mind, I'm saying, dude, this must be a really bad shot to the groin. Like, this is bad. And so it goes back, and then you hear it's his foot. And so I'm just searching for what happened. Like, where did he hurt his foot? And I never found it. Like, I don't know what occurred, but in my mind, all I knew was that eventually he was going to come back. And you know how I knew he was going to come back?
How did you know that?
Because if it's pain, we can take care of it. That's how I live my career.
Shoot that thing up.
If it's pain, we can take care of it. You go and you get some imaging. It's a quick imaging. Most of these facilities have a rudimentary X-ray machine in there. So you go get imaging on it. It comes back. As long as it's not fractured or broken or some major issue, it's just pain. We can take care of that.
Okay, so now walk me through this because, look, in the moment, I think every Knicks fan saw this game and this series hanging in the balance. We all know the importance of Jalen Brunson and the brilliance of Jalen Brunson. And we saw a lead that was up 7 when he left with 3:32 to go, balloon down to -10. So obviously every Knicks fan is praying to their basketball gods. That's what they're doing at halftime. He is in that locker room for the entire second quarter. He's in the locker room for halftime. So in real time, he's probably in there for a good 45 minutes.
Yes.
What are they doing?
So I can only speak to this because this happened to me in college one time. It's the only time I ever took a shot. You know, the proverbial shot. It's usually Toradol, even though they may have advanced and gotten better medicine since then. But in college, we were playing the University of Miami in the CarQuest Bowl. And I got speared. So I'm on the ground. Someone just comes and just spears me right in my back. And I could not move. And I didn't think it was broken. We go take an image. It's a fractured one of those little tiny bones on your back. So it doesn't really affect anything, but it hurts so bad.
Right.
And they said, well, it's just pain. We can take care of that. That's literally what they said to me. And so I said, okay, let's do it. So I get a Toradol shot in my back. It took about 25 minutes for it to start to take effect.
So it does take time for that thing to kick in.
It takes some time to feel it, like this, to kick it in or to numb it,
right,
so you don't feel the pain anymore. And eventually, I go back in the second half. Third quarter comes. I'm like, all right, I got this. I can go back out and play. It made me loopy. And it's why I never took Toradol again, because it affected me. I didn't know how it would affect me. It was my first time ever taking it, and I got loopy, and I couldn't finish the game. Thomas Jones ended up playing the rest of that game. So what likely happened for Jalen Brunson is they went in, they said it's not your groin, it's your foot that we're dealing with. Is it pain or is it injured? Is there something serious we need to look at? It takes time to get the x-ray. It takes time to read the x-ray.
So he may seriously be hurt.
It takes time. Well, I doubt it, because I don't think they would have let him play. It takes time to get the x-ray. It takes time to evaluate the x-ray. And then you got to make a decision. What are we going to do?
Right.
And because he came back out and he played and he was ginger, but it looked like it wasn't really bothering him, I'm going to guess they gave him some kind of painkiller. And it took some time to work. Gets through halftime. He comes out. Let's try it out. Just see what you can do. Start shooting around. Says I'm good. You know why he's good? Because he's Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think once he's out there warming up, Jalen Brunson has that mentality of, I'm playing.
Yes.
And what I thought as the third quarter started was, as great as this guy is, he's freaking human. Like, okay, great, he's out there, and that's inspirational. But one of the biggest misleading things about Willis Reed, and it's funny, Craig and I used to have this argument, and it really wasn't an argument, because I understand history. I understand what happened that night, and hopefully Knicks fans understand as well. Walt Clyde Frazier was the star of that night. There's no doubt. Like, Willis Reed inspired, and he came back on the floor, and it was amazing, and Willis played well for a couple of minutes.
Yep.
But that was the Walt Clyde Frazier show. What Jalen Brunson did in the second half wasn't just, hey, I'm going to inspire the group, and then it'll be someone else to take over. No. Jalen took over. So in a lot of ways, what Brunson did last night was more impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
in a lot of ways. Now, I know it's not Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I understand that. I'm talking about the actual performance and the fact that he played the entire second half. He flowed that offense perfectly. He had every freaking big shot, and clearly he played with pain.
No, he was. You could tell he was trying to land on his other foot. I think it was his right foot or his left, whichever one was injured. You could see him trying to, like, gingerly stay away from it. His gait was off. He wasn't bringing the ball up the court just to give himself a little bit more time to, calm and collect and take those deep breaths that you need to get through pain, because that's what it is. I mean, I played through a lot of pain in my career, and sometimes you just need to and steel yourself before you go do what you have to do.
Right.
And so by having, Dante bring the ball up or whoever may have been, it allowed him to gather himself, take those deep breaths, and then go ball.
And he balled.
He did.
And he led
really
the Knicks back. Remember, they start the second half. They're down 10. And they turn that game on a dime. On a dime. Now, here's the thing, because when you win a game like that, you go up 2-0 and everybody's feeling good. And we'll get to OG Anunoby, I promise you, in 5 minutes, because that's the other big question on Knicks fans' minds. But the next thing that goes through your mind, especially when he's standing there out on the court and he's being interviewed by Chris Haynes, and he says, yeah, we'll see. I'll do my best to play in Game 3. Now, I think a lot of Knicks fans took that as, like, is she going to be good to go? Now, my impression is Jalen Brunson's going to play. This guy's going to walk through fire. But my question for you is, okay, they probably shot him up. He got through it. He was marvelous. He had his Willis Reed moment in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. But now they got to win 2 more games.
Yes.
They got to win 4 more games after that if you want to keep this journey going. Is it possible, even if he didn't break his foot, but if he's playing with pain, is it possible to do what he did last night again and again and again and again?
I mean, of course it is possible, because guys have done this over and over in sports history. Is it advisable? No. But how many times do you get this close to being in the Eastern Conference Finals? And how many times are you going to have this exact collection of studs around you? OG being one. We'll talk about his injury later. But Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo and Hart, all the pieces are doing exactly what they need to do at exactly the right time. So how often is this stars going to align so that you could potentially get to the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe even get to the NBA Finals? And the last thing you want to do is say, hey, you know what? Let's kick this down the road and see, because you might not get another chance. So if it's just pain, we'll take care of it. That's what I think this is about. And because if it was something more than that,
he wouldn't have played.
He would not have played.
So you're telling me if that was a broken foot,
right.
dare I say,
if it's a broken
he's not out
bone,
there.
Or if it's a broken, because you can have broken bones, but you can't really do any more damage. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's broken, but it's just pain. You're not really going to do any more damage. You want to play through it? Play through it. If not, we'll respect your lack of tolerance for pain. But if it was something that was really detrimental to him, I don't think they let him play. I don't think he comes back into this game. So my only deduction is that going forward, it's going to be the exact same decisions that he had to make at halftime of this game or second quarter / halftime.
Maybe this is
game.
unfair to Jalen Brunson, but I think this is the reality, and I think I speak for a lot of Knicks fans when I say this. I expect him to play, and I expect him to ball. I have no reason to believe otherwise.
Again, so I had a similar situation to this. In 2000, we're playing the Dallas Cowboys. It's our penultimate regular season game. And Felipe Sparks, remember Felipe? He used to be on our team. He's now on the Dallas Cowboys. I score a touchdown, and he drills me late as I'm going to the end zone. And he cracks my forearm. I just thought it was a bruise. That hurt, man. You want an x-ray? No, I'm good. It's just a bruise. Fly home the next day, still hurts like hell. Go through the whole week of practice, hurts like hell. We play the Jacksonville Jaguars in the last game of the season. I still think it's a bruise. After that game, I said, we need to x-ray it. We x-ray it, and it's fractured. Like a complex, not a complex, compound fracture. So it's displaced, right? My bone is no longer aligned. It's displaced. And our head doctor says to us, Russell Warren, Teague, you got to plate this. Your season's over. And I said, with all due respect, Doc, that's not a bleeping option because we were in the playoffs and we had a bye week. And we got a bye week. What can we do? And so they bone stimulated with a bone stimulator. I got a carbon graphite shield, and I played with it. And the reason I did is because you don't know when you're getting to that spot again.
No doubt.
We ultimately went to the Super Bowl and got our asses kicked by the Baltimore Ravens, but I played with a broken arm. And so, exactly. Ow. I feel like Jalen Brunson is, if it is some sort of compromised physical, whatever, bone or...
He's playing.
He's playing. Because you don't get that kind of, like that momentum and that real opportunity very often.
No question.
And this feels like a real opportunity. I mean, hell, just look at what happened when he was down. OG Anunoby, who's hit or miss offensively, we know how great he's been defensively. He balled.
He did.
Right?
That's why.
22 points before halftime.
That's why, look, as far as the future of OG Anunoby is concerned and how much time he's going to miss, if he's going to play again this year, I think we'll start to get more information as this day goes on. It's a hamstring injury, and I'm sure you had many a hamstring injury.
100%. Speak to that one, too.
And we'll get into that. But as far as last night is concerned, OG Anunoby, who is in a free agent year looking for his payday. OG Anunoby, who all he's done since the Knicks have acquired him is win. Like, literally. They're 26-5 when OG Anunoby plays.
No matter what.
OG Anunoby last night, when they needed him the most, balled like we have not seen him ball before. And so I know the attention from last night is on the Brunson return and what he did in the second half, and OG going down with the hamstring issue, and the fact the Knicks turned the game on a dime. But here's the reality. If it's not for OG Anunoby, the Knicks are down by 25 at the half.
Right.
That's the reality. This isn't a game.
It's insurmountable.
Without OG Anunoby. And as we talk about game 2, but also look ahead to the future, we got to admit OG Anunoby was as important as anybody to what happened last night. Now, when he went down, and this is the difference between Jalen's injury and OG's injury, none of us saw Jalen's injury. Like, what we saw, and you described it earlier, was the groin thing, as I'll call it, followed by him saying, hey, look, I got to get out. I'm having an issue with my foot. But we actually never saw definitively where he got hurt, which adds a cloud of mystery to it. With OG Anunoby, we saw it. We saw it right before our eyes. And by the way, to those Knicks fans sitting baseline, did you see this? OG falls to the ground. He's clearly hurt. And there's these two Knicks fans that are probably listening right now. I saw what one of them said to OG Anunoby, and I didn't like it. He said, get up, walk it off. Walk it off! First of all, OG's as tough as anybody.
Right.
I mean, Tiki, speak to these fans. Walk it off.
You walk off the nut shot, right? That's what you walk off. You just squat a couple times up and down. Oh, all right, I'm good. Stretch it a little bit. I'm good. I can walk that one off. You got a hamstring injury. You ain't walking that off.
Walk it off.
I mean, you got to rest that one off. That's the only way that thing gets better.
I can't believe you're sitting in the front row. You're talking to a world-class athlete. And I understand you weren't being
they're hyped. It's because the fan is hyped. The fan is like on cloud whatever.
He should be.
Hyped.
He should be.
Probably some alcohol involved in that. Maybe some other stuff as well. Right? They're just feeling it.
But
the guard was electric.
You are, playing in football, you're far away from the fans, so you probably never had this specific experience.
No, I did not.
Let's just hypothetically, you're in the end zone and you just collapse with a pulled hamstring, and you happen to be very close to the stands, and a guy in a Giant jersey, not being disrespectful, just looks down at you and says, "Come on, Teak, walk it off, be a man." Wouldn't you look up and say, "Are you effing kidding me?"
I say, bring your ass out here and do it yourself.
Y'all deserve it.
Just throw a little Robitussin on it. Get that tussin in on the bone.
A little tussin.
Yeah, I think with OG, our confidence that he's going to be ready to play clearly tomorrow night has to be shaken. Hamstrings are just, you could speak on this. Like, do you have any confidence we're going to see him anytime soon?
It depends on how bad it is. So the report earlier today that I heard was it's not as bad as it could be. And so it's just a strain, or more likely it could be cramping, because they were moving and running so much,
right?
And you just get muscle fatigue and your hamstrings cramp. Now, a cramp can also lead to a pull because you get tight, and once your muscles get tight and then you overextend, it can rip your muscle. If it's that, he's going to be out for a while. But if it's just tight and he can loosen it up and it's not in the meat of his hamstring, it's just kind of peripheral to the side and he felt it tinge a little bit and he smartly went down, then maybe he can work that out. Massage, get electric stim, you obviously ice, you keep the swelling out, you take some anti-inflammatories. There's ways to mitigate it, and he could obviously play with a compromised hamstring. He's just not going to be able to run. And that's what's going to make it hard.
Especially against this team.
Especially against this team where all they want to do is push the pace.
Well, here's what we know. The Knicks are halfway home. They're 2 wins away from knocking out Indiana and advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. Can they do that if OG Anunoby doesn't play in the rest of the series? We'll discuss it coming up, plus your phone calls in reaction to what was yet another. This is like a laundry list of championship DVD moments at Madison Square Garden on the freaking anniversary of the most famous Knick moment ever, Willis Reed inspirationally walking onto the court before Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Jalen Brunson in an odd way upped them, because he came out after missing a quarter and missing halftime, and then not only came out and played, he came out and he balled and he willed the Knicks to another victory.
He's a dog.
Your calls and reaction, 877-337-6666.